This morning you woke up in the same reality as yesterday. The same walls, the same job, the same problems. But what if I told you that this reality exists only because you keep observing it exactly this way? What if your entire world was not a solid, unchanging structure, but a fluid ocean of possibilities waiting for your decision? Not a metaphor, not philosophy, science. Quantum physics has revealed a secret that changes everything. It proves what mystics have known for millennia, but now it's confirmed in laboratories, measured by instruments, documented in scientific journals. Reality does not exist without an observer. Matter has no form until someone looks at it. Your future is not determined until you make a choice right now. Imagine that every particle in your body, every atom around you exists simultaneously in millions of different states. You are rich and poor, healthy and sick, happy and miserable. All of this exists right now as a cloud of possibilities, and only your consciousness, your act of observation, chooses which version becomes real. This is not fantasy. This is quantum superposition, and it works every second of your life. Most people live as sleeping passengers on the train of reality. They think the world shapes them, that circumstances are stronger than them, that fate is already written. They observe their life from a victim's position, and reality obeys, transforming into exactly what they fear. They use the most powerful force in the universe, their consciousness, to create pain instead of joy, limitation instead of freedom. Now imagine what happens when you learn to control this force intentionally, when you understand the law by which quantum power works, when your every thought, every emotion, every expectation becomes a tool of creation instead of sabotage. Reality will begin to change not because you work hard or hope for luck. It will change because you become a different observer. The law of quantum power is simple in formulation, but profound in application. Whoever observes, creates. Whoever is aware, controls. Whoever changes themselves as an observer changes everything that is observed. This is not magic and not self-deception. This is the mechanics of how the universe works at the deepest level. In the next minutes, you will learn what they won't teach you in school. What will change your understanding of yourself and the world? I will show you scientific experiments that prove the power of consciousness over matter. I will reveal 3 keys that allow you to activate this power intentionally. I will give you a protocol you can use today, but I warn you, this information will change you irreversibly. When you see how reality actually works, you will no longer be able to return to the old way of thinking. You will no longer be able to blame circumstances, other people, or fate, because you will understand the most terrifying and most beautiful truth. You have always been the creator of your world. Nobody just told you how it works. If you're ready to take responsibility for your reality, if you're ready to learn to use the most powerful force in the universe, if you're ready to become a conscious observer instead of a sleeping passenger, then stay. Because what you're about to learn is practiced only by those who truly control their lives. The law of quantum power awaits you. Reality is ready to obey. The only question is one: are you finally ready to wake up and become who you could always be? The master of your reality, a conscious creator, the quantum architect of your own life. Let's start with what changed science forever, with an experiment that proved what seemed impossible. 1805, Thomas Young conducts an experiment that seems simple. He directs light through 2 narrow slits onto a screen. Logic says 2 bright bands should appear, but instead something impossible appears, a series of alternating light and dark bands, an interference pattern. Light behaves like a wave, not like a particle. 2 centuries later, scientists repeat this experiment but with 1 electron at a time. And here madness begins. When nobody observes which slit the electron passes through, it behaves like a wave and passes through both slits simultaneously. An interference pattern is created. But the moment scientists install a detector to see which exact slit the electron flies through, the pattern instantly changes. The electron begins to behave like a particle and passes through only one slit. The very fact of observation changes the behavior of matter. This is not an equipment error. This is not a statistical deviation. This is a fundamental property of reality. A quantum particle exists in a state of superposition, in all possible places simultaneously, until someone looks at it. And precisely the act of observation, of conscious attention, forces it to choose one specific state. Scientists called this the collapse of the wave function. Before observation, the particle exists as a wave of possibilities. It is literally everywhere and nowhere. After observation, the wave collapses into one point, into one specific state. The observer does not simply see reality. The observer creates reality through their act of observation. Niels Bohr, one of the founders of quantum mechanics, said something revolutionary. No elementary phenomenon is a phenomenon until it is observed. Reality does not exist independently of the observer. It is formed at the moment of observation. This means the universe is not a finished set where we live. It is constantly being created through the interaction of consciousness with the quantum field. Werner Heisenberg, author of the uncertainty principle, went even further. He claimed that atoms and elementary particles form a world of possibilities, not a world of things and facts. The past is not fixed, the future is not determined, and only the present moment of observation makes possibility into reality. Imagine an ocean, not an ordinary ocean of water, but an ocean of pure potential. Each drop of this ocean contains all possible versions of reality. You are rich and poor, healthy and sick, happy and lonely simultaneously. All this exists as potential in the quantum field, and your consciousness, like a magnet, pulls from this ocean one specific drop, one version, making it your reality. Erwin Schrödinger created the famous thought experiment with a cat. A cat in a closed box with a mechanism that may or may not kill it exists simultaneously both alive and dead until someone opens the box and looks. This seems absurd for our everyday understanding. But at the quantum level, this is exactly how matter works. Now scale this to your life. Your body consists of 37 trillion cells. Each cell contains billions of atoms. Each atom obeys quantum laws. This means your body, your health, your state exist in a superposition of possibilities until you observe them in a certain way. When you wake up in the morning and think you feel tired, your consciousness collapses the wave function of your body into a state of fatigue. When you look at your bank account and feel lack, you collapse the possibilities of your finances into a state of limitation. When you expect problems in relationships, you create this reality through your expectation. The quantum field is neutral. It is neither good nor bad. It simply responds to your observation. Like a mirror reflects what is in front of it, the quantum field reflects the state of your consciousness. If you observe as a victim, the field creates circumstances of a victim. If you observe as a creator, the field opens possibilities of a creator. John von Neumann, mathematician and physicist, proved that consciousness cannot be excluded from quantum mechanics. It is not a side effect of brain activity. It is a fundamental part of the process of creating reality. Without consciousness, there is no collapse of the wave function. Without collapse, there is no reality. Consciousness and reality are inseparably connected. This is the most important thing you must understand. Reality is not solid. It is not fixed. It is not determined until the moment you look at it. And how you look, what kind of observer you are, determines what you will see and feel. Now the question becomes simple and terrifying at the same time. If your consciousness creates reality through observation, what will happen when you change your way of observing? What will happen when you become a different observer? The answer is simple. Everything will change. The PEAR Institute at Princeton University conducted research that lasted 30 years. They wanted to find out whether human consciousness can influence physical systems. They built a random number generator, an electronic device that produces an absolutely chaotic sequence of zeros and ones, a mathematically predictable result. 50% zeros, 50% ones. Then they ask people to simply look at the generator and try to influence the result by the power of thought, to want more ones or more zeros to appear, no physical contact, only intention and attention. The results shocked the scientific community, statistically significant deviations from randomness. People could influence the operation of the machine with their consciousness. Over 30 years, they conducted more than 2.5 million trials with hundreds of participants. The result remained unchanged. Consciousness affects matter. Not always strongly, not always predictably, but it affects. The observer is not passive. They are an active participant in creating reality. Dean Radin, senior scientist at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, conducted a meta-analysis of such experiments. He analysed the results of 595 studies conducted in different laboratories around the world. The statistical significance was undeniable. The probability that these results were random equaled 1 in a trillion. This means your attention does not simply register information, it changes what it's directed at. When you focus on a problem, you amplify it with your attention. When you concentrate on a solution, you increase the probability of its manifestation. Attention is energy, and this energy shapes the quantum field. Masaru Emoto conducted experiments with water that showed visually what quantum physics proves mathematically. He froze water after it was exposed to various influences. Water that was directed words of love and gratitude formed beautiful symmetrical crystals. Water that heard words of hatred and aggression created deformed, chaotic structures. Critics said this was not science. But the results repeated again and again. Water reacts to consciousness, and your body is 60% water. If consciousness can change the structure of water, it can change the structure of your body. Every cell reacts to what you think and feel. The observer principle says simply, you cannot observe something without changing it. There is no neutral observation. Every act of attention is an act of creation. Every thought sends a signal into the quantum field. Every emotion shapes the wave function of your reality. Think about this. When you wake up and the first thing you do is look at your phone and read news about disasters and crises, you become an observer of this type of reality. Your consciousness tunes to the frequency of fear and helplessness. And throughout the day, you will observe and create events that resonate with this frequency. But if you wake up and the first thing you do is feel gratitude for a new day, you become a different observer. Your consciousness tunes to the frequency of possibilities and abundance, and your day unfolds completely differently. Not because the external world changed, but because the observer changed. Quantum mechanics uses the term eigenstates of the observer. This means every observer has a certain set of states they can measure, see, feel. If you are tuned as an observer to the frequency of lack, you are literally unable to see possibilities of abundance around you. They exist in the quantum field, but you do not collapse them into your reality. Changing the observer is not positive thinking. This is not self-suggestion. This is changing the quantum state of your consciousness. This is retuning to a different frequency of reality. And when you change the frequency, everything you observe changes. Heisenberg said there is no objective reality independent of the observer. What you consider the objective world is your personal version of reality created by your way of observing. Another person looks at the same world and sees something completely different, not because one is right and the other wrong, but because they are different observers. The most powerful realization comes when you understand this. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're a creator of circumstances through your way of observing. Change the observer inside and reality outside will change automatically. This is not magic. This is quantum mechanics. Now that you know observation creates reality, it is time to learn how this works specifically. What mechanisms hide behind this process? How your consciousness interacts with the quantum field to materialize one possibility from millions of others. The law of quantum power is based on 3 pillars: intention, attention, and expectation. 3 forces that together create reality. Understanding how they work is the difference between chaotic creation and mastery. The first pillar is intention, not desire, not dream, not hope. Intention. Desire says I would like. Intention says it will be. Desire doubts. Intention knows. Desire waits for permission from the external world. Intention gives permission to itself. The quantum field responds to clarity. When you form an intention, you send a coherent signal into the field of possibilities. This signal resonates with a certain frequency, and the field begins to organize events, people, circumstances to match this frequency. But if your signal is weak, blurred, full of doubts, the field receives confused information and creates confused results. Lynn McTaggart, author of The Intention Experiment, conducted dozens of studies showing how focused group intention can change physical reality. Groups of people focusing their intention on specific targets could affect plant growth, water crystal formation, and even crime rates in certain areas. Not through physical action, through consciousness alone. Your intention works the same way. When you set a clear intention for your day, your health, your relationships, you program the quantum field. You tell the universe which version of reality you want to collapse from the wave of possibilities. But most people never form true intention. They wish, they hope, they try, and the field responds with maybe results. True intention feels different in your body. It is not desperate energy of wanting. It is calm certainty of knowing. When you feel true intention, there is no anxiety about how it will happen. There is only clarity about what will happen. This certainty creates a powerful, coherent signal that the quantum field cannot ignore. The second pillar is attention. Attention is the flashlight of consciousness. Where you point it, energy flows. What you focus on expands. This is not metaphor. This is quantum mechanics. Your attention literally feeds energy into whatever you observe. Think about your day. How much attention do you give to problems versus solutions? To what is wrong versus what is working? To fears versus possibilities? Each moment of attention is an act of creation. You're constantly voting with your attention for which reality you want more of. The quantum Zeno effect proves this scientifically. When you observe a quantum system continuously, you freeze it in its current state. The act of repeated observation prevents the system from evolving. This is why people who constantly focus on their problems stay stuck. Their attention keeps collapsing the wave function into the same state over and over. But when you withdraw attention from what you do not want and place it on what you do want, magic happens. The unwanted state becomes unstable without your attention feeding it. The wanted state begins to materialize because you are now collapsing probabilities in that direction. Your attention is not neutral, it is creative power. Most people give 90% of their attention to what they do not want. They worry about bills, health problems, relationship conflicts. They watch news that amplifies fear. They scroll social media comparing their lives to others. Every moment of this attention creates more of what they do not want. Not because the universe is punishing them, because they are using their creative power unconsciously. The third pillar is expectation. Expectation is perhaps the most powerful of the 3 because it operates unconsciously most of the time. Your conscious intention might say, I want success. But if your unconscious expectation says, I always fail, the expectation wins. Because expectation is the filter through which you observe reality. The placebo effect demonstrates this perfectly. Give someone a sugar pill and tell them it is powerful medicine. If they expect healing, their body often heals. Not because the pill had power, because their expectation created a reality where healing was possible. The expectation collapsed the wave function of their health toward wellness. The nocebo effect is even more revealing. Tell someone their condition is serious and treatment rarely works. Their expectation of failure often creates exactly that. Same body, same condition, different expectation, completely different outcome. Expectation is not passive belief. It is active creation of reality. Your expectations are shaped by your past experiences, your beliefs, your identity. If you have failed 10 times before, you expect to fail again. This expectation makes you observe reality through a failure filter. You notice signs of potential failure. You overlook signs of success. You behave in ways that confirm your expectation, and reality obliges. Breaking this cycle requires becoming aware of your unconscious expectations. What do you truly expect about money? About relationships? About your health? About your worth? Not what you wish or hope for. What do you actually expect deep down? That is what you are creating. When intention, attention, and expectation align, you become an unstoppable force. Your clear intention sets the direction. Your focused attention feeds energy into that direction. Your positive expectation keeps collapsing probabilities toward your desired outcome. The quantum field has no choice but to respond. But when these three are in conflict, you create chaos. You intend one thing but focus attention on the opposite. You want success but expect failure. You hope for love but focus on loneliness. The field receives mixed signals and creates mixed results. Not because it is broken, because you are broadcasting confusion. The law of quantum power is simple. Align your three pillars, form clear intention without doubt, direct sustained attention toward what you want, cultivate expectation that matches your intention. Do this consistently, and reality must change. Not might change, must change. Because you are using the fundamental law of how reality is created. But knowing the pillars is not enough. You must understand the mechanism. How exactly does consciousness interact with the quantum field to materialize one possibility over another? What is happening at the deepest level when you create reality? Quantum entanglement is one of the strangest phenomena in physics. Two particles become connected in such a way that measuring one instantly affects the other, regardless of distance. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. He did not like it because it violated his understanding of how the universe should work. But experiments proved it real. In 1997, Nicholas Guissin conducted an experiment in Geneva. He sent two entangled photons in opposite directions through fiber optic cables. One went to a village 7 kilometers north, the other went 7 kilometers south. When he measured the state of one photon, the other photon instantly changed state. Not after 7 kilometers of travel time, instantly, faster than light. As if distance meant nothing. This reveals something profound about the nature of reality. Separation is an illusion. At the quantum level, everything is connected. Your consciousness is not isolated inside your skull. It is entangled with the quantum field, with other consciousnesses, with all of reality. When you change your state, you send ripples through this entangled network. This is why your emotional state affects people around you without words. Why you can feel when someone is thinking about you. Why groups of people can influence physical systems through collective intention. You are not separate from what you observe. You're entangled with it. The quantum field exists in a state of infinite potential. Every possible outcome, every possible reality, exists as a wave of probability. Your consciousness, through the act of observation, collapses these waves into specific outcomes. But the mechanism is not random. It follows the law of resonance. Resonance means like attracts like. Your consciousness vibrates at a certain frequency based on your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. The quantum field contains all frequencies. When you vibrate at the frequency of fear, you resonate with and collapse probabilities that match fear. When you vibrate at the frequency of love, you collapse probabilities that match love. This is not metaphysics. This is wave mechanics. Every thought creates an electromagnetic pattern in your brain. Every emotion creates a biochemical signature in your body. These patterns and signatures are frequencies. These frequencies interact with the quantum field, which is also made of frequencies. Where your frequency matches a possibility in the field, that possibility gains strength and becomes more likely to materialize. Carlo Rovelli, one of the founders of loop quantum gravity, describes reality as a network of interactions rather than a collection of things. Nothing exists independently. Everything exists in relationship. Your consciousness is constantly in relationship with the quantum field, exchanging information, influencing and being influenced. When you focus your attention on something, you create a stronger connection, a stronger entanglement with that thing. Your frequency begins to match its frequency. This matching creates resonance. Resonance amplifies. What you focus on grows not because you are making it bigger through action, but because you are entangling yourself with it more strongly through attention. The quantum Zeno effect demonstrates this mechanism clearly. In quantum mechanics, frequent observation of a system prevents it from changing state. The watched pot never boils, taken to the quantum extreme, but this also means that by continuously observing a desired state, you can stabilize it, make it more solid, more real. If you want to create health, you must repeatedly observe yourself as healthy. Not deny current symptoms, but place your attention on the desired state so frequently that you entangle yourself with it. Your consciousness begins to vibrate at the frequency of health. The quantum field responds by collapsing more probabilities toward that frequency. But here is where most people fail. They observe the desired state once or twice, then spend the rest of their day observing the unwanted state. They think about health for 5 minutes during meditation, then worry about illness for 12 hours. The dominant frequency wins. You entangle most strongly with what you observe most frequently. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. A weak but constant intention creates more effect than a strong but sporadic one. The quantum field responds to sustained signal. It ignores noise. If your signal keeps changing, if you intend one thing Monday and doubt it Tuesday, you create interference patterns that cancel each other out. Non-locality is another key principle. Quantum effects do not respect space and time the way we think they should. When you focus your intention on a future outcome, you're not just thinking about something that does not exist yet. You are entangling yourself with that future possibility right now. You are collapsing its wave function in advance. This is how intuition works. You suddenly know something before it happens, not because you are psychic, but because you are entangled with future probabilities through the quantum field. When a probability becomes strong enough, you can sense it before it materializes in physical reality. Your body is a quantum system. 70 trillion cells, each containing trillions of atoms, all operating according to quantum principles. When you change your mental state, you're not just thinking differently, you're changing the quantum state of every cell. Your body begins to resonate with a different frequency. This is not gradual. This is instant. The moment you truly change your state of consciousness, your body changes with it. Bruce Lipton, cell biologist, discovered that gene expression responds to environmental signals, and consciousness is the most powerful environmental signal. Your beliefs, your perceptions, your expectations change which genes activate and which stay dormant. You are not a victim of your genes. You are the programmer of your genes through your consciousness. The mechanism is elegant. Consciousness sends signal. Signal creates frequency. Frequency resonates with matching possibilities. Possibilities collapse into experience. Experience reinforces consciousness. The loop continues. Break the loop by changing the signal, and everything downstream changes automatically. This is why you cannot create lasting change through action alone. Action without change of consciousness creates temporary results. But when you change consciousness, right action emerges naturally. You do not force change. You allow it by becoming a different resonator with the quantum field. Understanding the mechanism removes mystery. You're not begging the universe for favors. You're using the natural laws of quantum reality. When you align with these laws, creating what you want becomes as natural as gravity pulling objects downward. It is not special. It is physics. Now that you understand the mechanism, you need the keys. 3 specific practices that activate intention, attention, and expectation in ways that create measurable change. These are not theoretical concepts. These are practical tools used by people who have mastered quantum influence. The first key to quantum power is crystallized intention, not vague wanting, not casual hoping, laser-focused knowing, intention that cuts through uncertainty like a diamond through glass. Most people never form true intention because they confuse it with wishing. A wish says, I would like this if it is possible. An intention says this is happening. A wish needs permission from reality. An intention gives permission to reality. A wish is passive. An intention is active creation. When you form a true intention, something shifts in your body. You feel it. There is a moment of alignment where your mind, heart, and gut all say yes simultaneously. This is not forcing. This is not trying hard. This is clarity. When you feel it, you know it is real intention. Dr. William Tiller, Professor Emeritus at Stanford, spent 40 years studying how human intention affects physical reality. He designed experiments where people imprinted their intention into simple electronic devices. These devices had no power source, no mechanism, just the imprinted intention. Then he placed these devices near water or other materials. The results were impossible according to conventional physics. The pH of water changed, the rate of enzyme activity increased, temperature shifted, all from devices that contained only human intention, not active human presence, just the recorded signal of intention. This proved that intention is not wishful thinking. It is a real force that can be measured and repeated. To create crystallized intention, you must move past the surface level of wanting. Everyone wants money, health, love. But these are outcomes, not intentions. True intention lives deeper. It answers the question why. Why do you want this? What will it allow you to experience? What state of being will it create? When you dig deep enough, you discover that you do not want money. You want freedom, security, the ability to contribute. You do not want a relationship. You want connection, intimacy, shared growth. You do not want health. You want vitality, ease, the energy to live fully. These deeper desires create stronger intentions because they align with your core values. Start by choosing one thing you truly want to create, not 10 things. 1. Write it down as a clear statement, not I hope or I wish or I would like. Use I am or this is or I have. Present tense, definite, as if it is already collapsing from possibility into reality. Now sit with this statement. Feel it in your body. Does it create expansion or contraction, excitement or anxiety? True intention feels like expansion, like opening. False intention, what you think you should want, feels like tension. Your body knows the difference even when your mind does not. If you feel contraction, adjust the intention until you feel expansion. Maybe the specific form you chose is not right. Maybe the timing is off. Maybe there is a deeper fear blocking the intention. Keep adjusting until you find the version that makes your whole being say yes. Once you have your clear intention, you must anchor it. This is not one-time process. This is daily practice. Every morning when you wake, before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, you reconnect with your intention. You feel it. You see it. You know it. The morning is when your brain is in alpha state. the border between conscious and subconscious. This is when the quantum field is most receptive to your signal. This is when you program your day. If you skip this step and immediately dive into reactivity, you lose your creative power before you even start. Visualization helps, but only if done correctly. Most people visualize from outside, like watching a movie. This creates weak signal. True visualization is first person, inside the experience. You see from your own eyes. You feel the emotions. You hear the sounds. You make it real in your nervous system before it becomes real in physical reality. Neville Goddard taught a technique called living in the end. You do not visualize yourself getting what you want. You visualize already having it. You feel the satisfaction, the gratitude, the naturalness of it. This sends a completely different signal to the quantum field. Not needing, having. The field responds to having frequency by creating more of it. Write your intention on paper and place it where you will see it multiple times per day. Not to remind yourself to try hard. To remind yourself it is already done at the quantum level. You're simply waiting for physical reality to catch up with what is already true in possibility space. Speak your intention out loud when you are alone. Sound creates vibration. Vibration affects matter. Your voice carrying your intention creates ripples in the quantum field that your thoughts alone cannot match. This is why affirmations work when done with true feeling, not mechanical repetition, embodied declaration. The key is consistency without attachment. You hold the intention clearly, but do not strangle it with desperate need. Desperate need broadcasts lack. Lack attracts more lack. Clear intention broadcasts certainty. Certainty attracts manifestation. You care deeply about your intention, but you do not need it to prove your worth or save you from something. When you master intention, you notice changes quickly. Synchronicities increase. The right people appear. Unexpected opportunities arise. This is not luck. This is the quantum field responding to your coherent signal. You're no longer broadcasting static. You're broadcasting clear frequency, and reality tunes to match. Intention is the direction. But direction alone is not enough. You need the second key, the force that moves energy in that direction, the spotlight that illuminates your path through the darkness of infinite possibility. You need mastery of attention. Attention is the currency of the quantum field. What you pay attention to, you literally pay for with your creative energy. You invest your consciousness into whatever you focus on, and that investment generates returns. The question is, what kind of returns? Your attention is finite. You have only so much of it in a day. Every moment you spend focused on problems, fears, complaints, you're spending your quantum currency on creating more of those. Every moment you spend focused on solutions, possibilities, gratitude, you're investing in that reality instead. The average person checks their phone 80 times per day. Each time is a disruption of attention. Each disruption weakens their signal to the quantum field. They scatter their attention across dozens of inputs, none of them related to their true intentions. By the end of the day, they have created a chaotic mess of mixed signals and mixed results. Focused attention works like a laser versus a light bulb. A light bulb spreads energy in all directions, weak and diffuse. A laser concentrates that same energy into a single beam that can cut through steel. Same energy, different focus, completely different power. Your attention works the same way. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi studied optimal states of consciousness and discovered flow. When attention is completely absorbed in present moment activity, people report peak experiences and peak performance. Time disappears. Self-consciousness vanishes. Action and awareness merge. This is not just psychological. This is quantum coherence. When your attention is scattered, your consciousness exists in multiple places simultaneously. You're thinking about the past, worrying about the future, distracted by your phone, partially present. Each split of attention creates quantum decoherence. Your signal becomes weak and confused. The field cannot respond clearly to a confused signal. But when you bring all your attention into one point, one activity, one intention, you create coherence. All parts of your consciousness align. Your signal becomes strong and clear. The quantum field can easily read and respond to this signal. This is when miracles happen, not because the universe suddenly likes you better, because you finally sent a clear request. Training attention is the most valuable skill you can develop, more valuable than any technical skill or knowledge. Because with focused attention, you can learn anything, create anything, solve anything. Without it, you are helpless, even with vast knowledge. Start with simple practices. Choose one activity and give it your complete attention for 5 minutes. Could be making coffee, taking a shower, walking. Do not let your mind wander. Do not think about anything else. When it wanders, gently bring it back. This is mental training, like physical training but for your attention muscle. You will discover how weak your attention is, how quickly it jumps from one thing to another, how much resistance your mind has to being still and focused. This is normal. Everyone starts here. But with practice, your attention grows stronger. 5 focused minutes becomes 10, then 20, then hours. Meditation is attention training disguised as spiritual practice. You sit still and watch your breath, not to become holy, to build the skill of sustained attention. Every time you notice your mind wandered and bring it back, you do 1 repetition of attention training. After thousands of repetitions, your attention becomes a precision instrument. But you do not need formal meditation to train attention. You train it by doing anything with complete presence, washing dishes with full awareness of the sensations, listening to someone speak without planning your response, working on a task without checking your phone. Every act of full presence strengthens attention. The quantum field does not care what you focus on with full attention. It only recognizes the strength and clarity of the signal. This is why people can become obsessed with negative things and create more negativity. Their attention is strong even though it is pointed in a destructive direction. The field gives them more of what they are focused on. This is the critical choice. You have this powerful tool called attention. You will focus it somewhere. You cannot not focus. Even trying not to think about something is a form of focused attention on that thing. So the question becomes simple. What deserves your attention? What is worthy of your quantum currency? If you want health, you must give attention to health, not to symptoms, not to problems, not to what is wrong, to health itself, to what it feels like, looks like, moves like, to examples of health around you, to gratitude for the health you already have. This is not denying reality. This is choosing which reality to strengthen with your attention. If you want abundance, you must give attention to abundance, not to bills, not to lack, not to worry, to abundance everywhere, to how much you already have, to opportunities that exist, to examples of people creating wealth, to gratitude for every dollar that flows to you. You are training your attention to notice and amplify one frequency over another. The outer world will constantly try to steal your attention. News, drama, other people's problems, social media, crisis after crisis. This is attention theft. Every moment they capture your attention, you're investing your quantum currency into their reality instead of yours. You become a creator of what they want, not what you want. Protect your attention like you protect your money. Be selective about what gets in. Set boundaries. Create attention routines where certain times are for focused work, other times for relationships, other times for rest. Do not let randomness dictate where your attention goes. You decide, consciously, intentionally. The more you practice focused attention, the more you notice results. You finish projects faster. You solve problems easier. You feel more alive. This is not just productivity. This is quantum power. You're learning to direct your creative force instead of letting it spray everywhere randomly. But there is a trap. You can have clear intention and focused attention and still fail. If underneath both, there is a hidden expectation of failure, the third key is perhaps the most powerful because it operates in the shadows of your unconscious mind. Expectation must be addressed or nothing else works. Expectation is the silent architect of your reality. While intention shouts and attention illuminates, expectation whispers in the dark, shaping everything without you noticing. It is the operating system running beneath your conscious thoughts, and it is creating your reality more powerfully than anything else. You can intend wealth with every fibre of your being. You can focus attention on opportunities every day. But if deep down you expect failure, expect rejection, expect that good things never last, your expectation will win. Every single time. Because expectation is the lens through which you observe reality, and observation creates reality. The placebo effect is pure expectation at work. In clinical trials, 30 to 40% of people who receive sugar pills experience real healing. Not imagined. Real. Their pain decreases, their tumours shrink, their depression lifts, because they expected the pill to work. Their expectation changed their biology. Not the chemistry of the pill, the quantum state of their consciousness. The nocebo effect is even more revealing. Tell someone a harmless substance is toxic, and they will develop real symptoms, nausea, headaches, even rashes. Their expectation of harm creates actual harm, same with diagnosis. Tell someone they have 6 months to live, and many die right on schedule, not because the disease is that predictable, because their expectation collapses the wave function of their health toward death. Your life right now is a perfect mirror of your deepest expectations. Not what you wish for, not what you hope for, what you truly expect. Look at your bank account. That is your expectation about money. Look at your relationships. That is your expectation about love. Look at your health. That is your expectation about your body. Most people have expectations they do not even know they have. These unconscious expectations were programmed in childhood. Your parents struggled with money, so you absorbed the expectation that money is hard and scarce. You were rejected or abandoned, so you absorbed the expectation that people leave. You saw adults stressed and tired, so you absorbed the expectation that life is struggle. These expectations run silently in the background, creating your reality automatically. You do not think about them. You do not question them. They feel like truth, like just how things are, but they are not truth. They are programs, and programs can be rewritten. The first step is awareness. You must catch your expectations in action. Listen to your inner dialogue. When you think about pursuing a goal, what whispers in the back of your mind? Yes, but what if it does not work? Yes, but people like me do not get that. Yes, but I tried before and failed. These whispers are your expectations speaking. Write them down. Make the unconscious conscious. List every expectation you have about money, relationships, health, success, yourself. Do not judge them. Just observe them. You will be shocked at how negative they are, how limiting, how much they contradict your conscious intentions. Robert Rosenthal conducted a famous experiment called Pygmalion in the classroom. He told teachers that certain students were identified as high potential, ready to bloom. In reality, these students were chosen randomly, but by the end of the year, these randomly selected students showed significantly higher gains in IQ and performance than their peers. Why? Because the teachers expected them to succeed. This expectation changed how the teachers interacted with them. More attention, more encouragement, more patience. And the students responded to this expectation. They became what was expected of them, not because they were actually special, because expectation created a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your expectations about yourself work the same way. If you expect to fail, you unconsciously sabotage. You procrastinate. You make poor decisions. You quit before success arrives. Not because you want to fail, because your behavior must match your expectation. The quantum field arranges circumstances to match your dominant frequency, and expectation sets that frequency. Changing expectation requires more than affirmations. You cannot just say, "I expect success," when every cell of your body expects failure. The unconscious mind will laugh at you. You must give it evidence. You must create small wins that prove the new expectation is possible. Start tiny. If you expect failure in relationships, do not try to expect a perfect marriage. Expect a pleasant conversation with a stranger. Have it. Prove to yourself you can create positive social interaction. Do it again. Build evidence. Each small success rewrites your expectations slightly. If you expect financial struggle, do not try to expect millions. Expect an unexpected $20. Find it. Receive it. Notice it. Celebrate it as evidence that money can come easily. Do it again. Your unconscious mind learns from experience, not from wishes. Give it experiences that contradict the old expectation. Joe Dispenza teaches a technique he calls mental rehearsal. You vividly imagine the experience you want to create, engaging all senses, feeling all emotions, until your brain and body believe it already happened. When you do this repeatedly, you create neural patterns identical to actually having the experience. Your expectation shifts because as far as your nervous system knows, it already occurred. This is not fantasy. This is neuroscience. Your brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Both create the same neural firing patterns, the same chemical releases. When you mentally rehearse success enough times, you rewire your expectation from failure to success. The quantum field responds to your dominant expectation, not your occasional hope, your consistent baseline, what you expect when you are not trying to expect anything. This is why morning and evening practices matter so much. They shift your baseline expectation gradually over time. Before sleep, your brain enters theta state. This is when your subconscious is most programmable. Do not fall asleep reviewing your problems. Fall asleep imagining your desired reality as if it already exists. Feel the feelings, see the images, impress the expectation into your subconscious while it is receptive. Wake up and immediately return to that same state before your conscious mind loads all its worries. Those first few minutes set your expectation for the day. If you spend them in anxiety, you expect a difficult day. If you spend them in gratitude and vision, you expect a good day. And the quantum field will deliver what you expect. Watch for confirmation bias. Your brain looks for evidence that confirms your expectations and ignores evidence that contradicts them. If you expect people to be unfriendly, you notice every slight and miss every kindness. If you expect abundance, you notice every opportunity and miss every obstacle. Same reality, different filter, completely different experience. You can use this bias deliberately. Decide on a new expectation and actively look for evidence that supports it. If you want to expect that life is easy, look for examples all day long. When something goes smoothly, notice it. Say out loud, "See, life can be easy." Train your brain to filter reality through the new expectation. Expectation is not optional. You are always expecting something. The question is whether you are expecting what you want or what you fear. Most people spend their lives expecting their fears and wondering why their fears keep manifesting. The power is in your hands. Choose your expectation. Prove it to yourself with small wins. Watch reality shift to match. Now you have the 3 keys. Clear intention sets direction. Focused attention provides energy. Positive expectation removes resistance. When all 3 align, you become unstoppable. But knowing the keys is not enough. You must understand what stops most people from using them. The quantum obstacles that sabotage even the best intentions. You know the law. You understand the mechanism. You have the 3 keys. So why do most people still fail to create what they want? Because between knowing and doing lies a battlefield of obstacles. invisible forces that sabotage your quantum power before it can take effect. The first obstacle is quantum noise. Just as static interferes with a radio signal, mental and emotional chaos interferes with your signal to the quantum field. Your consciousness broadcasts constantly, but if the broadcast is filled with contradiction, the field cannot respond clearly. You intend abundance for 5 minutes during meditation. Then you spend 8 hours worrying about bills. You focus on health during your morning routine. Then you spend the day complaining about your body. You expect success when you think about your goals. Then you scroll social media feeling inadequate. Which signal is stronger? The noise wins. Your environment creates quantum noise. Every advertisement is designed to make you feel lack. Every news story amplifies fear. Every social media post triggers comparison. If you consume this input unconsciously, you're allowing others to broadcast through your consciousness. You become a relay station for their intentions, not a creator of your own. The solution is ruthless input management. Guard what enters your consciousness like a fortress. If something does not serve your intention, block it. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad. Stop watching news that amplifies fear. Avoid people who constantly complain. This is not being close-minded. This is protecting your quantum signal from interference. The second obstacle is identity misalignment. Your identity is the deepest level of expectation. It is who you believe you are at your core, and you cannot create a reality that contradicts your identity. The quantum field will not allow it because your identity is your most powerful filter. If you identify as someone who struggles with money, you can intend wealth, focus on opportunities, and expect abundance. But your identity will sabotage all of it. You will make decisions that recreate struggle. You will feel uncomfortable when things go well. You will unconsciously return to what feels like you. Not because you are broken, because your identity must be consistent. Neville Goddard understood this deeply. He taught that you must assume the identity of the person who already has what you want, not fake it. Actually become them internally. How does someone with perfect health think? How do they move? How do they make decisions? Embody that identity until it feels more real than your current identity. This is why sudden wealth often disappears. Lottery winners go broke within years, not because money is cursed, because their identity did not change. They still see themselves as poor people who got lucky. Their identity pulls them back to match their self-concept. The quantum field simply obeys their dominant identity. The third obstacle is collective consciousness. You're not creating reality in isolation. You exist within a field of collective beliefs, agreements, and expectations. The consensus reality that most people accept creates a strong gravitational pull. When you try to create something that violates consensus reality, you encounter resistance, not from the universe, from the collective field. Most people believe you must work hard for money. When you try to expect easy money, you feel the weight of billions of people who believe otherwise. Their collective expectation creates drag on your individual intention. This does not mean you cannot succeed. It means you must have stronger signal than the noise around you. You must hold your frequency so clearly that it overrides the collective frequency. This is why groups of people with aligned intentions are so powerful. They create their own mini collective field that supports each other's creation. The fourth obstacle is attachment to timeline. You form clear intention, focus your attention, cultivate expectation. Then you check for results. Nothing yet. You check again. Still nothing. Anxiety builds. You start doubting. The doubt corrupts your signal. You give up just before manifestation was about to occur. The quantum field does not operate on your timeline. It operates on the path of least resistance. Sometimes manifestation is instant. Sometimes it requires multiple pieces to move into place first. When you attach to a specific timeline, you create resistance. You tell the field it must happen your way, or you will withdraw your intention. Detachment is not caring. Detachment is caring deeply while releasing control of how and when. You hold your intention clearly, but you do not strangle it with impatience. You trust the quantum process. You know it is done at the level of possibility. You simply allow physical reality to catch up without forcing the timeline. The fifth obstacle is unconscious loyalty. You absorbed beliefs and patterns from your family, your culture, your past. Some of these patterns are painful, but they are familiar. They connect you to where you came from. Changing them can feel like betrayal. If your parents struggled their whole lives, part of you may feel guilty for succeeding where they failed. If your friend group bonds over complaining, becoming happy may feel like abandoning them. If your culture values suffering as virtue, choosing ease may feel wrong. These unconscious loyalties sabotage your creation without you realizing why. You must give yourself permission to outgrow where you came from. You can love your family and still live differently. You can honor your culture and still choose your own path. Success is not betrayal. It is evolution, and your evolution gives others permission to evolve too. The sixth obstacle is energy depletion. Creating reality requires energy, not just physical energy, quantum energy, the vitality of your consciousness. When you're depleted, your signal weakens. When your signal weakens, your creative power diminishes. Modern life is designed to deplete you. Constant stimulation, poor sleep, processed food, chronic stress, electromagnetic pollution. All of this drains your quantum battery. You cannot create powerfully from an empty tank. You must prioritize energy management as spiritual practice. Sleep is when your consciousness reorganizes and integrates. Without enough quality sleep, your quantum coherence suffers. Nutrition affects your frequency. Clean food raises your vibration. Toxic food lowers it. Movement circulates energy. Stillness builds energy. Both are needed. The obstacles are real. They stop most people. But they're not insurmountable. Each obstacle has a solution. And when you systematically remove obstacles while applying the 3 keys, you create an unstoppable force. Nothing can block you. Not circumstances, not other people, not even your own past. Now you need a system, a practical protocol that integrates everything you have learned, a step-by-step process that turns theory into reality, a method that works because it aligns with how quantum creation actually functions. The protocol is simple. Simplicity is power. Complexity creates confusion. Confusion creates weak signal. Weak signal creates weak results. Master these steps and reality will obey you, not sometimes, consistently. Step 1 happens before you get out of bed. The moment you wake, before your eyes open, before your mind starts its daily narrative, you connect with your intention. You feel it already done, not hoping it will happen, feeling it already complete in the quantum field. This takes 60 seconds. 60 seconds that program your entire day. Your brain is in alpha state when you first wake. The boundary between conscious and subconscious is thin. Your critical mind has not yet activated. This is when your consciousness is most receptive to programming. Miss this window and you spend the rest of the day fighting your own resistance. Feel the emotions of your intention fulfilled. If your intention is health, feel vitality in your body. If your intention is wealth, feel security and abundance. If your intention is love, feel connection and warmth. Do not visualize from outside. Be inside the experience. Let your nervous system believe it is happening now. Step 2 is gratitude before action. Before you check your phone, before you think about your problems, before you enter the chaos of the day, you spend 2 minutes in gratitude, not fake gratitude. Real appreciation for what already exists. Gratitude is the most powerful frequency you can broadcast. It tells the quantum field you have enough. The field responds to having by creating more having. When you start your day in gratitude, you set your baseline frequency to abundance. Everything that follows harmonizes with this frequency. Appreciate simple things. The bed you slept in, the breath in your lungs, the fact that you woke up at all. These are not small things. They are miracles you have stopped noticing. When you notice them again, you recalibrate your perception. You remember that abundance already surrounds you. Step 3 is intention declaration. Stand in front of a mirror if possible. Look yourself in the eyes. Speak your intention out loud. Not as a wish, as a statement of fact. I am healthy. I am abundant. I am loved. Use present tense. Use conviction. Let your voice carry the frequency of certainty. Your voice creates vibration. Vibration affects the quantum field more powerfully than thoughts alone. When you speak your intention with feeling, you send ripples through reality. These ripples attract matching frequencies. People, events, opportunities that resonate with your declaration begin moving toward you. Do this for 2 minutes. Same intention every day. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates inevitability. Most people fail because they change their intention daily. They want health Monday, wealth Tuesday, love Wednesday. The field receives chaos and creates chaos. Pick one intention per 30 days. Master it. Then move to the next. Step 4 is focused work. Choose the single most important action that moves your intention forward. Not 10 actions. 1. Give it 90 minutes of undivided attention. No phone, no email, no interruptions. Total presence, total focus. This is where most people fail. They think quantum creation means sitting and visualizing all day. No. Quantum creation means aligning intention with inspired action. The field shows you what to do. You must do it with full presence. Action without presence is wasted energy. Presence without action is incomplete creation. During these 90 minutes, you are in flow state. Time disappears. Effort becomes effortless. You're not forcing. You're allowing action to move through you. This is coherence. Mind, body, and field working as one system. This is when quantum leaps occur. Not in meditation, in aligned action. Step 5 is midday recalibration. Set an alarm for lunchtime. When it goes off, stop everything. Close your eyes. Take 5 deep breaths. Reconnect with your intention. Feel it again. Check your emotional state. Are you still in the frequency you set this morning, or did you drift into reaction and stress? Most people lose their frequency by noon. Someone triggers them. A problem arises. They check social media and feel inadequate. Their baseline shifts from creation to survival. This midday check catches the drift before it becomes the dominant signal. If you drifted, do not judge yourself. Simply reset. Feel your intention again. Choose gratitude again. Shift your state back to creation. This is like resetting your GPS when you take a wrong turn. The sooner you notice and correct, the less time you waste going the wrong direction. Step 6 is evening review. Before sleep, you review your day through the lens of quantum creation, not through the lens of judgment. You look for evidence that your intention is manifesting. Tiny signs, small synchronicities, unexpected ease. Your brain has a negativity bias. It notices problems more than progress. You must consciously look for what went right. Did someone smile at you unexpectedly? Did you find money? Did a problem solve itself? Did you feel better than usual? These are not random. These are early manifestations of your intention. Write them down. Keep a quantum evidence journal. Every piece of evidence strengthens your expectation. Your expectation strengthens your signal. Your signal creates more evidence. The spiral goes upward. But only if you notice and acknowledge the evidence. Step 7 is sleep programming. The last thoughts before sleep become the seeds planted in your subconscious. If you fall asleep worrying, you plant worry seeds. If you fall asleep in gratitude and vision, you plant creation seeds. Your subconscious works on whatever you give it at the threshold of sleep. Replay your intention as if watching a movie. See yourself living it. Feel the emotions. Make it vivid. Let this be the last thing in your awareness as you drift off. Your subconscious will work on this program all night. You will wake up closer to your intention than when you fell asleep. The protocol seems simple. It is simple, but simple does not mean easy. Simple means no excuses. You cannot say you do not know what to do. You cannot blame circumstances. You have the exact steps. The question is, will you do them consistently? 30 days of this protocol will change your life measurably. Not might change, will change. Because you are finally using quantum mechanics the way it was designed to be used. You are broadcasting clear signal. You are maintaining coherent frequency. You are taking aligned action. The field must respond, but you will be tested. The first week will feel exciting. The second week will feel boring. The third week you will doubt it is working. The fourth week results will begin appearing. If you quit during week 2 or 3, you prove that your commitment was weak. The field tests everyone. Only those who persist receive proof. This is not punishment. This is how reality filters out noise from signal. If every random wish manifested instantly, the world would be chaos. The requirement of consistent focus ensures that only clear intentions backed by real commitment manifest. This protects you from your own unconscious desires. Stay with the protocol. Trust the process. Do not check for results obsessively. Do not tell everyone what you're doing. Keep your intention between you and the quantum field. Let your results speak. When people ask how you changed, then you can share, but not before. Now you need to understand what results look like, how manifestation actually appears, what signs to watch for, how to recognize that quantum shifts are occurring even before physical reality fully changes. Manifestation is not instant magic. It is a process. Understanding this process prevents you from quitting too soon. The quantum field responds immediately. Physical reality takes time to reorganize. The gap between quantum shift and physical proof is where most people lose faith. The first sign is internal. You feel different, lighter, more certain, less anxious about the outcome. This shift in feeling is not a side effect. It is the first manifestation. Your consciousness has already moved to a new frequency. You're already living in the new reality at the quantum level. Physical form will follow. If you do not feel this internal shift after 2 weeks of consistent practice, something is wrong with your signal. Either your intention is not clear, your attention is scattered, or your expectation is corrupted by doubt. Go back to the 3 keys. Find the weak point. Strengthen it. The second sign is synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences increase. You think of someone and they call. You need information and you overhear it in a random conversation. You consider a decision and a book falls off the shelf with the exact answer. These are not coincidences. These are the field responding to your coherent signal. Carl Jung called synchronicity a causal connection. Events connected by meaning, not by cause and effect. When your consciousness aligns with your intention, the quantum field organizes seemingly unrelated events to support that intention. The more synchronicities you notice, the stronger your signal is becoming. Do not dismiss synchronicities as random. Acknowledge them. Thank them. They are feedback from the field. They tell you that you are on the right path. They tell you the quantum machinery is working on your behalf. Each synchronicity is a small manifestation proving bigger manifestations are coming. The third sign is opportunity. Doors open that were previously closed. People offer help unasked. Resources appear from unexpected sources. You're not suddenly lucky. You changed frequency. Things that always existed but were invisible to your old frequency are now visible to your new one. Most people miss opportunities because they expect them to look a certain way. They want the perfect job to arrive through a formal application. Instead, it comes through a casual conversation at a coffee shop. They want love to arrive on a dating app. Instead, it comes through a friend of a friend at an event they almost did not attend. Stay flexible about how your intention manifests. The quantum field always takes the path of least resistance. It knows shortcuts you cannot see from your limited perspective. Your job is to hold the what clearly. Let the field handle the how. When opportunity appears, even in unexpected form, take it. The fourth sign is obstacle removal. Things that were blocking you suddenly resolve. The difficult person moves away. The complicated situation simplifies itself. The problem you struggled with for months solves itself. Overnight. You did not solve it through effort. The field rearranged circumstances when you stopped pushing and started allowing. This is how you know you are in flow with quantum creation. When you force, everything is hard. When you align, everything eases. Effort becomes effortless. Doors open before you reach them. Solutions appear before you finish asking the question. This is not lazy. This is mastery. The fifth sign is small manifestations. Before the big intention manifests, smaller related things appear. If you intend financial abundance, you find $20. If you intend perfect health, you have one day where you feel unusually energetic. If you intend true love, you have a beautiful conversation with a stranger. These small wins are not consolation prizes. They are proof that your signal is working. They are the quantum field testing your receptivity. Many people ignore small manifestations because they are focused only on the big goal. This is a mistake. What you appreciate, appreciates. Celebrate every small win and more come faster. Dr. Masaru Emoto's work with water crystals demonstrated this principle visually. Water exposed to gratitude and love formed beautiful, complex crystals. Water exposed to criticism and hate formed chaotic, broken patterns. Your reality works the same way. Appreciate what appears and more beauty appears. Criticize what appears and more chaos appears. The sixth sign is changed relationships. As you shift frequency, people around you respond. Some will support your change and grow with you. Others will feel threatened and pull away. Both responses are signs you are transforming. You cannot change without your relationships changing. Do not chase people who pull away. They are not abandoning you. They are responding to frequency mismatch. When you vibrate at new frequency, you attract people who match that frequency. Let the old connections evolve or dissolve naturally. Trust that the right people will appear. The seventh sign is physical manifestation. This is the final stage. What was potential becomes form. The job offer arrives, the relationship begins, the money appears, the health improves. This is not the beginning of manifestation. This is the end. The quantum work was already done. Physical reality is simply catching up. When physical manifestation occurs, you will know it is real because it feels natural, not shocking, not too good to be true, natural, as if it could not have been any other way. This is because by the time it manifests physically, you've already been living at quantum for weeks. Your consciousness already adjusted. Physical form is just confirmation. Some manifestations arrive exactly as you imagined. Others arrive in better forms than you could have designed. The field is more intelligent than your conscious mind. It knows what you truly need versus what you think you want. Sometimes the best manifestation is not getting what you ask for, but getting something better. Record every manifestation. Keep a journal. This serves two purposes. First, it strengthens your belief as you see evidence accumulate. Second, it trains you to notice manifestations you might otherwise miss. You become a better receiver. The better receiver you become, the more you receive. Now you understand the signs. You know what to look for. You know how the process unfolds, but knowing is only the beginning. Mastery requires integration, taking everything you learned and making it your natural way of being. Not something you do, something you are. Mastery is not reaching a destination. Mastery is becoming the journey. It is when quantum creation stops being a technique you practice and becomes who you are. When you no longer need to remember the protocol because you are the protocol. When observing consciously is as natural as breathing. The transition from practitioner to master happens gradually, then suddenly. You practice the protocol daily. At first it feels mechanical. You have to remind yourself. You have to force focus. You forget steps. You doubt it is working. This phase tests commitment. Most quit here. Then something shifts. The practices become easier. You crave your morning intention setting. You notice when you drift from your frequency without needing an alarm. Aligned action flows more naturally. You catch yourself creating unconsciously and course correct faster. You are building new neural pathways, new habits of consciousness. Joe Dispenza's research shows it takes approximately 30 to 40 days of consistent practice to rewire a habit. After this threshold, the new pattern becomes automatic. Your brain has created new default circuits. What required effort now requires no effort. You have upgraded your operating system. The mark of early mastery is speed of manifestation. What took months now takes weeks. What took weeks now takes days. Not because you are special, because your signal is cleaner. Less internal contradiction, less quantum noise. The field can respond faster to a clear signal than a confused one. You also begin creating from a different place. Initially, you create from lack. You want something you do not have. This broadcasts need. Need attracts more need. As you master the law, you begin creating from overflow. You do not need the manifestation. You desire it from a place of already being complete. This frequency manifests exponentially faster. Another sign of mastery is effortlessness. You stop trying to make things happen. You allow them to happen. You set intention, maintain attention, cultivate expectation, take inspired action, and then release attachment to outcome. You trust. Trust is not blind faith. Trust is knowing the quantum mechanics are working whether you see evidence yet or not. Paradoxically, the less you need proof, the faster proof appears. The more you demand proof, the more you push it away. This is because demanding proof broadcasts doubt. Doubt corrupts signal. Trusting without proof broadcasts certainty. Certainty attracts manifestation. The masters understand this paradox and live it. You will also notice that your intentions evolve. Early on you want things: money, health, relationships, success. As you master creation, you shift to wanting states of being: peace, joy, contribution, growth, love. You realize the things were never the goal, the feelings were, and you can create the feelings directly without needing specific forms. This does not mean you stop creating things. It means you create things from a place of wholeness rather than lack. You want the business not to prove your worth, but to express your gifts. You want the relationship not to complete you, but to share your completeness. You want wealth not to feel safe, but to create freedom for yourself and others. The ultimate mastery is when you realize you are not separate from the quantum field. You are not using it. You are it. Your consciousness is not interacting with the field. Your consciousness is the field observing itself. When this understanding becomes lived experience, not intellectual concept, you become limitless. At this level, you understand that there is no you and reality. There is only one unified field expressing itself through the lens of your unique consciousness. What you call manifestation is simply the field rearranging itself based on how you observe it. You are not powerless. You are power itself where in temporary form. This realization removes all fear. Fear comes from believing you are separate and small. When you know you are the field, what is there to fear? The worst that happens is form changes. But you are not form. You are the consciousness that observes form. You cannot be harmed by that which you create through observation. Living from this understanding does not make you passive. It makes you more creative, more bold, more willing to take risks. Because you know that failure is impossible. Every outcome is simply information. Every result is simply feedback. You adjust. You create again. You expand into new possibilities endlessly. Your life becomes a laboratory for quantum experiments. You play with reality. You test what you can create, not from ego, from curiosity, from joy. You discover that there are no hard limits, only limits you accept, and when you stop accepting limits, they dissolve. You also become a living demonstration for others. People notice something different about you. They cannot name it, but they feel it. You are more present, more certain, more at peace. Things work out for you in ways they do not for others, not because you are special, because you understand the law. Some will ask you how. When they do, share freely, not to convert them, not to prove anything, simply to offer what was offered to you. Knowledge of how reality actually works, but do not try to convince anyone. The law proves itself through results, not arguments. Those ready to hear will hear, those not ready will dismiss. Both are perfect. Your final responsibility is maintenance. Mastery is not permanent unless maintained. You can slip back into unconscious creation if you stop practicing. The difference is now you notice faster and return to alignment faster. You have built the skill. The skill remains, but it must be used to stay sharp. Continue the morning protocol. Continue the evening review. Continue the midday check, not as burden, as gift. These practices keep you conscious. Consciousness is the goal. Everything else is byproduct. As long as you remain conscious, you remain the master of your reality. You now have everything you need. The science that proves it works, the mechanism that explains how it works, the 3 keys that activate it, the obstacles that block it, the protocol that applies it, the signs that confirm it, and the path to mastery that integrates it. The quantum field is waiting. Reality is ready to obey. The only question remaining is the one that has always been. Will you finally claim your power? Will you step into your role as conscious creator? Will you stop being a passenger and become the driver of your life? The law of quantum power does not care if you believe it. It works whether you know it or not. The only difference is masters use it consciously while others use it unconsciously. You are using it to create your current reality. Now use it to create the reality you actually want. Everything is possible. Everything is available. Everything is waiting for you to observe it into existence. The universe is not withholding anything from you. You're withholding yourself from the universe by observing through filters of limitation. Remove the filters. Become a clear lens. Let reality flow through you unrestricted. This is your birthright. This is your natural state. This is who you have always been beneath the programming and conditioning and fear. Welcome to quantum mastery. Welcome to conscious creation. Welcome to the life you were always meant to live, the life where reality obeys you because you finally understand. You are not in reality. Reality is in you. You are the observer. You are the creator. You are the power you have been searching for. Now go create your world.